Hello everybody. Hoping this video helps you get the understanding of cultural and diversity in some of those terms. So you're welcome to rewatch, pause, stop, and start, whatever you need to do to fill out your outline and kind of learn the terminology that goes with culture and how we have to understand culture and utilizing it towards the practice in PT. You'll come across a lot of different ethnic groups, cultures. You know, I have dealt with Hispanics, Somalians, Chinese, and Korean. I've had all of those different cultures in just my lifetime of practice. And you know, there's very distinct different things that occur when you have people from various backgrounds and treating them in the clinic. So we're just going to kind of walk you through some terms. I want you to have an understanding of that. What we're going to be using is your PTA handbook. It's your Curtis and Newman. It's the orange and yellow one. It has the sun looking picture on the front of the book. And you're going to be on page 189 and 190. That's where we're going to spend most of our time. So if you want to gather your outline that you have online that I should have sent to you, or that you should receive in an email. So if you have that outline ready and you have your book open, we can go ahead and get started. And I'll just kind of quickly walk you through these. I want you to just have an understanding of the terms and come prepared to class with this outline complete. We'll take a little mini quiz before class just to make sure that you are comprehending this at home and are ready to go. And then we'll do a project and really put this information into use of why it's so important and putting it into clinical scenarios. So let's go ahead and get started here. So culture, you have all of these different factors that make up culture. And so hint, hint, that's culture list for components that make up a culture. And I think I just added a number 5 to that. So kind of pick out the 5 key things that you see that are in a culture, that make up a culture, and write those down. And so you can pause this screen here so you can get those down, but I'm going to go ahead and just keep on moving. So these are the different terminologies we're going to talk about. Intercultural differences, values, norms, culture, ethnicity, language, social customs. These are the various things that you're going to see, and we're going to study the Italian culture and learning those terminologies, and then how this affects the PTA career in treating patients in the clinic. So Italy. I love spaghetti and Italian food. So this is a fun picture. Italy is their ethnicity. This is their group identities. They're Italians. And they're very big on their food and family life and stuff. So you're going to see some fun pictures here. But ethnicity is their group identity. So like for myself, I'm North American. Okay, Caucasian. Been growing up here in America. That's my group identity here. Next we have culture, and culture is defined as shared beliefs, behaviors, and rules. Okay, so here in America we have our culture and our government and stuff are having those shared beliefs and behaviors. And then we'll go right on into the language. So I do not speak Italian, so I'm not even going to try it for you. But obviously for us, our language would be English. It's either a written or spoken language. You'll come across some ethnical groups that have more of a written language. And then next you'll have social customs, and this is the usual practice by a group. So this is like our social customs. So like I guess now fist bumps, kind of like our handshakes or a high five. Those are some of our social customs. Here in Italy, their social customs is to greet each other either with wine or with a kiss on both cheeks. And you're not, in the Italian culture, you're not really kissing the person's cheek, it's just like a gesture. And so is how they greet one another. So that's different than what we are accustomed to. I know if some of you walked up to somebody and you were to practice the Italian social customs of greeting one another, y'all would probably slap each other. Because we are just not used to having somebody in our bubble like that. So that's a different thing, something different that you can encounter with patients. And next are your values. These are acts or customs the group holds favor for. So for the Italian culture, they love their fashion, their wine, and they love to spend a lot of family time together. That is their values. Those are their customs. You'll see that across the board in Italy. I really like the family aspect of it. I feel sometimes my values are geared more towards that and just being able to be around family. And so the values are stuff that you hold to. Like even my family has their own set of family values, and our culture here in America has our own set of customs and stuff that we hold favor towards. So the next we have here is cultural groups, and these are values or norms or the way of living passed down from generation to generation. So in the Italian culture, you have kind of two different groups, and there's also like three. You have the industry norms and living in generation to generation. You have the fishermen, and then you have the wine vineyards. And so these are things that have been passed down year after year. So for example, my family, it has been the medical field. Year after year, you will see one of us in some form or fashion in the medical field. That has been like my own family values and cultural group is being passed down. Then you have intercultural differences. So this is variations within a cultural group. So I'm sure you have noticed throughout America that we have various different religious beliefs. You'll have different political views, different ways that you spend time with family, or how you interact. And so these are just intercultural differences. We're all in the same culture within the U.S., but then we also have our own values that we hold dear to us and that we might consider and have different variations from different groups. For example, if I were to go into the inner city of Kansas City, I would be in culture shock because they have various different customs and values and language almost that it would be a whole new world for me. But those are still considered those intercultural differences. And I was kind of on those same lines as your cultural shock. So if we want to, sorry, I had a little technical difficulty there. Like Italians, they have late dinner times. They're quiet. College is very serious, very family oriented. Where like if Italians were in America, we usually have dinner early, very loud, lots of stuff going on, crazy world. They do not understand frats and sororities because, we all know some of us, those first years of college were fun years to experience life and kind of figure out who we are and what we want to do and what our own values are for ourselves. And so that looks a little bit different for the Italians. When soon as they hit college, they're right on track. This is a serious moment. So a lot of times they don't understand when they come over here what frats and sororities are and how we handle college here at the U.S. So there's just going to be some different variances that bring on maybe some anxiety that they're unable to predict the behaviors from another culture. And so that's one thing that you really want to be cautious of, is when you have a patient walk into your clinic, you don't want to cause anybody else any more anxiety or fear or something because they know within their culture that they can't be with you. You know, for example, our Muslim ladies, that they cannot have any male therapist work with them because they cannot have any man see them uncovered. And so they're very particular with that. And you never want to bring on that for a patient. You always want to respect them. So lastly here, you should be at the culture in the clinic right now. Have respect by understanding the values and the customs of other people or their clients' cultures. So really this allows the clinician to choose the proper personnel and apps to use. So what I want you to do for your 1, 2, and 3 there is I want you to look on your phone and write down apps that you can use to communicate to different people. So if you want to use like Google Translate or an exercise video demonstration that demos the exercise form so you can help with your communication because you have a language barrier because they're from different cultures. So anything, or even like an app that quickly tells you about that culture so you know not to offend them. So I want you to find 3 apps and just have those down and ready to kind of discuss when you come on Wednesday. And then lastly, if you just want to look at the back of your outline there, I want you to define the terms on page 190, and it's in box table 17.7. So you have cultural destructiveness, cultural incapacity, blindness, pre-competency, competency, and proficiency. So go ahead and just kind of define those in your own terms, and then we will come ready for that. We'll take a little mini quiz on some terminology here, something that you guys can kind of learn. If you have questions, just go ahead and just ask me when you're in class next week, and I'll try to answer those before I see you Wednesday afternoon. Otherwise, you should be all set, and we'll do a little class project and kind of put all the pieces together and go from there.